This series of videos looks at effective ways of teaching writing to beginners, especially children who are using a phonics-based approach. The exact techniques we use depend a lot on the age of the children, how much exposure they have to English, and whether they use the Roman script in their native language. So the ideas I will present in these videos may need to be adapted to your particular situation. There are many approaches to teaching children that don't put a lot of emphasis on writing, usually either because it is the most difficult of the 4 skills, or because schools believe the focus should be on listening and speaking. With some exceptions, such as when the children are too young, I think this is a serious mistake. With many children, writing is the key to deeper learning and deepens their ability to communicate effectively. Let's look more closely at why writing is important. Here are a few reasons. It deepens internalization. It is visible. It can be done away from class. It is a communicative skill. Children have different preferences. Let's look at these reasons in turn. Writing deepens internalization for many reasons. One reason is that writing involves more thought and reflection than the other skills, partly because it is the most difficult of the 4 skills, and partly because when writing, the children need to bring their thoughts together and often need to reflect more on what they have learned in previous lessons. Another reason is that approaching the same language target from various directions leads to deeper learning. If a child can hear, say, read and write a language target, it is deeper than if she can just say it. This is especially true for children who have few opportunities to use English naturally away from class. Writing is visible to the child, to the teacher, and to parents, and each of these is important. When a child writes, the child and the teacher can clearly see what she can do, and can see what she needs to learn to do. When listening or reading, children can often understand from partial clues, and when speaking, children can communicate by focusing on the words and patterns that they know. Writing more clearly exposes what a child can and cannot do. The visibility of writing is also an important factor in gaining the support of parents, which can make a big difference to the success of our English lessons. When a school focuses mainly on listening or speaking, it can be difficult for parents to assess whether the school's English program is effective, especially if their child is quiet or has few opportunities to use English away from class. If a child is writing regularly, the parents can see their child's progress much more easily and can have confidence that our lessons are effective. Writing can be done away from class. There are many children learning English who don't have opportunities to speak English outside class. They can listen or read away from class, but it can be difficult for a teacher to know how conscientiously they are doing it. With writing, it is easier to give children clear tasks to do at home, which is especially important when the children don't have enough English lessons at school. Writing is a communicative skill. Schools that overemphasize speaking often do this out of a belief that they are focusing on communication skills. I think this argument is seriously flawed. It is not just that communicative competence is related to how deeply the children learn English, and all 4 skills have a role to play in this. It also neglects the fact that writing is a communication skill. If children can learn to communicate through messages, chats, and journals, it can open many opportunities to use their English in meaningful situations. Children have different preferences. I don't mean that children have learning styles. As discussed in the How Children Learn videos, the research doesn't seem to support that idea. I mean simply that children in our classes have preferences. Some children are happiest when running around. Some are happiest when talking a lot. And other children are happiest when sitting quietly, writing in a notebook. I think we need to set up our lessons to include all these children if possible. So writing is important, but is it achievable? Some teachers feel it is too difficult to balance the 4 skills of listening, speaking, reading and writing in the early stages. That is certainly true for very young children, but once children are around 5 or 6 years old, it is definitely possible for beginners to learn core language targets with a balance of skills. Of course, it depends on the situation. If the children are immersed in English, or have quite a lot of chances to speak English naturally outside class, their spoken English will almost certainly be ahead of their writing ability. These videos are mainly for children who don't have these advantages. In order to achieve a balance of skills, the children need to write regularly in class or for homework. They need to build their writing skills step by step, from sounds to words to sentences to paragraphs. When they reach the stage of sentences, they need to write complete, meaningful sentences, not just put words in blank spaces. And they need to think and write. Thinking and writing. There are a lot of children who can show their parents beautifully written sentences or even stories they have copied at school. But given a blank sheet of paper and asked to write something similar from scratch, wouldn't know where to start. I think we always need to bear in mind that our goal is for the children to be able to write words, then sentences, then paragraphs, by themselves. If we make writing into an unthinking ritual where the children copy or just go through the motions of writing, we will be moving away from this goal. In fact, I think there should be as little copying in our lessons as possible. It is true that children do need to copy the formation of letters and maybe also handwriting styles. But there are ways to make even these kinds of activities interactive, which I will look at in the next video. In the other videos in this workshop, I will introduce a sequence for introducing writing to beginners, which is especially appropriate for children learning English as a foreign language who are not immersed in English and have few natural chances to speak English outside class. This writing sequence is only intended as one strand of a course. There will, of course, also be language targets that are only spoken. But from a long-term point of view, with English as a foreign language learners, I think it is the language targets that the children can hear, say, read and write that really matter.